Hey everyone, welcome to ReadIT. Today we have some entitled parents. Don't be entitled and subscribe to the channel for daily ReadIT content. Where we have some entitled dads. Entitled mom won't watch her kids, they climb into the pasture with my horses. So I've referenced this story a couple of times to people and decided that I'd tell the full tale. I live in a rural neighborhood, everyone's got 3 to 8 acres so we're all pretty spaced out. I live on 5 acres and my nearest neighbors are a sweet elderly couple about 1 acre from me. They're perfect. The husband does yard work as a hobby and his wife bakes. We have a nice agreement where if I need something big chainsawed he takes the wood down and uses it for the fireplace, and in exchange I trade recipes and bake with his wife. Honestly, they just like the company. I own my own home, have 2 horses, a cat, and recently my mom has also moved in because she was in financial trouble. I'm happy to help as she's good company and I'd do anything for her. And then everything changed when COVID attacked. So here's where things go south. My neighbor's son and his family, wife, and 2 girls, 4 and 7, live in the nearest city and didn't feel safe. I don't blame them, and because my neighbors are saints they opened their home and the brood moved right in. Up until this point I was the youngest person in the neighborhood at 29, so having kids wander around is new for everyone. At first it was no big issue. They stayed inside, got settled, maybe they were good kids? Total long shot, I know, but a girl can hope. So one morning I'm letting my horses out into the front pasture, a Clydesdale, and a Welsh pony, and I hear the most high-pitched squealing from next door. It was so shrill my Clydesdale second-guessed going outside, but cautiously proceeded only to be met with more squeals. I pop my head out and the 2 girls are literally losing their minds. And I get it. Little white pony and the horse from Brave, but still, they're large animals they don't know so they should have the sense not to approach, right? PFT. Not a snowball's chance in hell, these kids sprint to the fence shrieking. The pony runs around in panic and the Clydesdale standard there with the same WTF look I've got on my face. Then the 4-yo starts to go under the fence. Hell. No. Don't you dare climb under that fence. Said firmly, and admittedly kind of harsh, but I'll be damned if I have my horses mow over a kid. I walk over to them and they look like they're about to cry, but I explain firmly that they big animals and could hurt them easily and to never go over or under the fence. They go home, I clean stalls. An hour in I hear someone banging on my home's door and I can see through my barn's hatch door my mom and the kid's mom are having a conversation. The kid's mom then storms down to the barn. I've never met this lady but I know an entitled parent when I see one. Joy of joys. She starts going off on me, how dare you make my kids cry, they just wanted to see the ponies, blah blah blah. But when she takes a breath I get my point across. Ma'am, your youngest was crawling under the fence towards 2 large animals none of you know. That Clydesdale is a 2,000 pounds draft horse, he can literally crush you, not feel it, and do permanent damage. The pony looks cute but needs a experienced hand as he is very untrustworthy, flighty, and has a tendency to bite. Your children are not allowed near them without my consent and heavy supervision, and never allowed in the pasture with them, do you understand? She then starts ranting about, well, if they're so dangerous why do you have them? Are you even allowed to have them? I should call animal control. That crap. 1, they're my personal horses, yes I'm allowed to have them. 2, your kids trespassed on my property, I'm trying to keep them safe. 3, this is not a petting zoo. She huffs off, I continue work. Later that evening when the husband gets home I explained what happened. He's understandably alarmed and I explained how dangerous that situation is, he agrees. Not that my horses are aggressive mind you, but it's inherently dangerous in general. You've got a 50 to 200 pound human, vs a 800, 2000 pound horse. If you don't know what you're doing you can be seriously injured. Pure physics. So, I'm optimistic with his reaction but know he's often not home so I stay cautious. Later in the next week I'm working from home and I suddenly hear screaming. Not excited screaming, scared little kid screaming. I rush outside and the 4-yo is bawling in the middle of the pasture with the pony doing laps around the perimeter of the fence as my Clydesdale slowly approaches the little girl. The 7-yo is crying outside the fence and calling for her mom but clearly their mom is not watching them. My initial terror recedes a bit because my Clydesdale is essentially a golden retriever in a horse's body. Sweetest pushover in the world. He's gingerly approaching her in a slow, friendly way and being as non-threatening as he can. And with him so close the pony won't rush them. He's probably about 3 steps from her, but I yell for him to halt, and like a good boy he does. I make my way in with them and start asking the girl questions. Are you hurt? Being paramount, she's not, but she's clearly scared, so I pick her up and walk out, making my Clydesdale heel to me just in case the pony gets a dumb idea. The mom is still nowhere in sight, so I take them to my neighbors. What proceeds is about 30 minutes of screaming and crying. The girl's mother was the one to open the door. She starts screaming at me and firing off questions before my neighbors intervene. I tell everyone exactly what happened, and my elderly neighbors blew up at her, not me. They screamed at her for being so irresponsible and negligent, how they could have been hurt. The mom tried throwing blame on me, but they weren't having it. My neighbors apologize profusely and I go about my day until the husband gets home. He came by and apologized too, for his family's behavior and especially the behavior of his wife. I accepted it and said I understood, they're little girls, I too know the allure of magnificent fluffy horses. The mom was at fault for not watching the kids. I'm just glad everyone was okay. The girls were still really shook up, so I extended an olive branch, because well, I was a overexcited kid who liked horses once too, just with a horse mom who knew what she was doing. And I didn't want this to completely traumatize them from being around horses. So the next day I properly introduced them to my Clydesdale, with him in his stall with the inside hatch open and the girls being supervised by their father and me. Safe in the barn. They loved it, Clydesdale loved the attention, everyone's happy, right? Well, except the mom, who took my olive branch as a offer to teach them horseback riding, give free lessons, and other crap, but her husband shot it down hard, and presumably so did my neighbors. Since then it's been quiet. I did however install a second electrical wire on the bottom, not just on the top, just in case. And yes, they did test it. 7yo got zapped pretty good and got in trouble with her dad. Aside from that, there have been no incidents other than them wanted to pet them when I drop evening feed once in a while. Here's hoping it stays peaceful. But seriously, don't go up to animals you don't know. What's with entitled parents and horses? Damn. Next story is: entitled dad is so delusional he can't tell his son from his ex-wife. Mobile format apology here. First post, PLS don't be mean. Optional context, my biological dad and mother split up early in my life. Mom is now happily married to a new husband while my father is still alone. I, 18M, am living with my mother at the moment due to the fact my dad hasn't made any attempt to contact me or anything for over a year, even though it has always been his job since I don't know when he works, etc. I also don't like it over at his house because he's a self-centered, controlling, egotistical child who I was more mature than when I was 12, not much exaggeration, wish I was joking, who, despite his income, refuses to get a professional to renovate his mud hut of a house and instead insists on tearing the walls apart and rearranging them himself, releasing hordes of cockroaches and spiders. I have a car and both parents, despite being split, live in the same town. I am socially awkward and don't like phone calls. Story: so I'm at a Christmas lunch last year with my mother and stepfather's family, chatting and eating. Mom, a caring woman, says that I should contact my dad and go and see him for Christmas. I begrudgingly agree. The following text conversation ensues. OP equals me, ED equals dad. OP, hey, dad, it's OP. Apparently the last name S are gathering today for Christmas and was wondering when and where so I can join. ED, Merry Christmas OP, give me a call and we'll organize it. OP, could you please text me it instead? I have my license so I can drive over with the directions. ED, if it's too much trouble to call then don't bother. OP, I don't like calling because I like to have it in writing so I can check it again and again to avoid my bad memories mistakes. It's not a matter of laziness or whatever you think, but if it's too much trouble to text then don't bother. If I didn't want to see you guys then I wouldn't be talking to you. ED, I want to know who I am communicating with. If you want to join us you can call. If not, then you clearly didn't want to come very much anyway. At this point I'm in disbelief as I realize this melon thinks I'm my mother trying to mess with him. He's so self-centered he thinks my mother, who avoids all contact with him for good reason, would go out of her way to mess with his Christmas plans by pretending to be me. I decided I would put my foot down and not play this bully's game. OP, you're making this harder than it should be, especially since I'm the one who actually made contact. I just wanted the directions in writing. Merry Christmas. ED, No worries, mother's name. OP, you seriously overestimate how much mom gives a fuck, but okay dude. ED, if you want to communicate, call me. Do not text this number again. So, he got his wish since I won't be texting that number anytime soon and instead will be leaving it up to him to grow the F up and start acting at the maturity level of someone less than half his age. I'm happy. Video games are way cooler than that crusty idiot will ever be. I love some entitled dads stories. Next story is, mom thinks she's entitled to making us feel bad just BC she provides the bare minimum. So I don't know if I'm overreacting, but my mom has major anger issues. Whenever she gets angry at us, she would call us problems and curse at us. She would throw every kind of bad words you could think of, and even tell us to kill ourselves. She mostly blames us for existing. Literally. She got pregnant at a young age, around 20, so she didn't get to enjoy her early 20s like most women do. She blames us for ruining her life. She also tells us, me and my sister, that she would have been happy today if we didn't existed. She's a single mom, but that isn't an excuse to make you kids feel like shit, right? Or am I wrong? She wishes every day, and she screams this to make sure we hear her clearly, that she's single, and actually single, meaning without kids. I wouldn't say we're disrespectful kids, but it's hard to respect someone who constantly reminds you shouldn't have been born. I normally stay quiet when an adult disrespects me, so the situation wouldn't get worse, but I also talk back when I know I could defend myself. In my country's culture, when a kid defends themselves and correct adults, they're considered rude, so whenever I do this, I get called disrespectful and ungrateful. Yes, she feeds us and put a roof over our heads, but isn't that just bare minimum? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? It's not like we asked to be born, right? But why does it seem like our fault? She recently said to us, verbatim, "You two are problems. You're not blessings, you're problems," and told us we should pack our bags and leave so she could be happy. Mind you, I'm 17 and my sister is 13. We're literally underage, so we couldn't just leave. Believe me, I would have left years ago if it was that easy. She's also a big hypocrite. She preaches that she hates adults who judges other people's lifestyle, while she does that every day. She's also having a midlife crisis at 39 because, as I said, she got pregnant when she was young, so she goes outside partying and acting like a teenager, then goes home and blames us BC she's not happy with her life. So for everyone out there, don't go around having kids at a young age then blame your offsprings for being born. You don't deserve to be a parent if you do that. There are so many people out there wishing they could be parents that wouldn't do what you're doing. My mom also tells us very often the things that would instantly make her happy if they were dead are: 1. My biological dad. He left us and didn't even provide us money like he should be doing. 2. Dead. 3. Toxic relatives. Her family constantly criticizes her for her lifestyle. 4. Us. Yes. Us. You wouldn't really think a normal parent would say that to their child, right? I hear this almost every day that I'm not even fazed by it anymore. Although I'm very tired to say the least. She also buy us things or that sort, so we couldn't call her a terrible mother. Also, whenever she gets angry and calls us things you wouldn't say to your child, she won't say sorry. She doesn't know how to say sorry. She would just act like she did nothing wrong and nothing happened. She also can't admit that she's wrong. She would start getting angry if anyone calls her out. She calls us toxic when she's the pure definition of toxic. I might sound ungrateful here, but I don't care anymore. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like. I'm trying to grow this channel and produce some entertaining content daily for your enjoyment.